my god, hi. I feel like I've been wanting to do this literally for the longest time, and things just kept getting in my way. So I'm really excited to actually be pressing record and doing this. As you might hear in my voice, I'm a little sick still, and that's a huge reason why I didn't record, even though I made the Instagram post and I wanted to post the first episode just like 1 week ahead of time, and that plan didn't work out. I got sick twice, and the first take of this, my microphone wasn't working, and I honestly do think that it was just poor planning on my part, and I was just like eager and I wanted to record, and I didn't feel like worrying about trying to figure out how to hook up my microphone, and that's my own fault. And the funny part is I've had this microphone literally since high school, and I've used it like twice, and finally I'm actually getting good use out of it, and I don't put in the time to figure out how to use it, and that's what delayed this podcast, is what I'm trying to say. So excuses, but I'm here now, and I'm really, really excited. So thank you so much for actually clicking this link and listening. When I made the Instagram post, I didn't think anyone was really going to care. I thought that people from college have just known me for a long time, and they're just like, oh, this is another thing that Mattie does. People from high school, I honestly had no idea what they would think, because I feel like I'm a totally different person than I was then. So I'm really surprised that so many people were supportive of it. So thank you for that. I don't even know if I said my name in the beginning. So my name is Mattie Pontelandolfo. Well, technically it's Maitland Pontelandolfo, which my parents are going to be so happy that I said out loud. I hate my first name because it's too much with my last name, and I just don't like it. But yeah, I go by Mattie, and that is my name, and that's what I will go by on this podcast. Who I am is honestly a mess, and I think that if you asked anyone, they would probably say that. They would say I'm probably being stressed out over some small thing, and I worry about it constantly, or that I'm complaining, and I complain a lot about literally everything, and that's all true. So that's something that you should know up front about me, because that's probably how a lot of people would describe me. But I'm going to go ahead and move past all of that and tell you a little bit more about me. So right now I'm working my first big girl job in New York City in entertainment PR, and it's very interesting, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But honestly, it has been my dream to work in New York City for so long, literally so long. I was an avid fangirl when I was in high school, which I'm proud to admit. I loved Emblem 3, and I was an avid fangirl, but I would spend a lot of time in these big cities and admiring this band, and I kind of got to know a little bit more about the industry of entertainment, and I thought it was really cool. And I've always wanted to work in a big city for an entertainment company, specifically musicians, ever since then. So the fact that I am essentially doing that is really cool, but work is work, and maybe one day I'll elaborate on that. My interest in entertainment and media is what got me interested in making a podcast, combined with my ability to talk forever to absolutely anyone that will talk to me. I just really thought that this would be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to be doing it, and already I can tell that it's something that I'm really gonna like. So that's why I started to make this podcast, just as an outlet for myself, and also as an outlet to people that want to listen to something honestly real. I'm going to say whatever I want to say and talk about whatever I want to talk about, regardless of if I'm complaining or regardless of if I'm stressed about something really small. And maybe I'll want to vent to the podcast about it. So you guys will be my listeners, and I think that we can both benefit from this relationship. So I'll get out what I need to say, and you guys can just zone out for however long I decide to make this and listen to me. And so if that sounds appealing to you, and I really hope it does, I'm going to start making these episodes as frequently as I can. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick to a schedule, but I'm really excited to talk about some things. I'm definitely going to talk about my job and New York and my life here now, since I'm going into my office 3 days a week now. So I'm spending a lot of time up here. So definitely going to chat about that. I'm also obviously going to talk about my family and my friends, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but definitely going to talk about them, and I'm super excited to maybe have some of them on. My family is just incredible. We're a big Italian family, and we always say that we should have a TV show, so might as well make this podcast our family TV show. So I'm going to have some of them on, and they're so interesting. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. But it's going to be a lot of different things. It's going to be a lot of good things. And honestly, it's going to be whatever I feel like talking about and what I think people would want to hear. So there's honestly not going to be a structure to this. And I think that every podcaster or person in social media has everything so planned out. But you know what? That's not me. And I'm not going to be doing that. So don't expect a lot, but we're going to see how this goes, and I'm really excited. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the name of the podcast, which is In the Clouds, and it means a lot to me, honestly, because of one little guy that inspired this name, and that is my Cloudy. And if you're like, who the fuck is Cloudy? It's my bird, and he is my prized possession. I'm really not even kidding. I really never had pets growing up, and I think that definitely contributes to my obsession with my parakeet. But I also just think that he's so fucking cool and that everyone should love him as much as I do. So he really inspired the name of In the Clouds, because his name is Cloudy, because he's a little blue bird. And so he's going to be our mascot, so to speak. So I'm going to be talking about Cloudy a lot, I can't lie, and that's just an important name to know for you guys. So Cloudy is definitely the main inspiration towards the name. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about these key players in my life, just like my little Cloudy, who I often call Muffin, and you're definitely going to hear me refer to him as the little Muffin. So people just like him that I will be talking about a lot in these podcasts, maybe posting about on social media if you choose to follow me. So yeah, just highlighting the key people in my life. So I feel like I must start with my mom and my dad, and they are two very cool people. They are definitely not the traditional mom and dad. For example, me and my mom have a 1,700 day streak on Snapchat, which I'm so proud of, and I know that she is too. And we've even gone to measures to restore this streak if something happens to it. So she's that mom. She is not the normal mom. My dad is just a complete goofball. Love him so much, and he's just so funny. I definitely want to have him on this podcast, but he's also just the best dad, too. He is so generous, and both my parents are amazing, but they both definitely have their quirks, and I have a major feeling that I'm going to be talking about their quirks as they come about. As parents and daughters quarrel, we're definitely going to be talking about it, and they're gonna hate that, I can't lie. But we're talking about you, Mom and Dad. We're definitely airing out our grievances on the podcast, so just something to look forward to. Next up will be my sister Brielle, and she is my older sister. I honestly don't even know how old she is, which is bad. I think that she is 26, but me and Brielle have had definitely a rocky relationship, as all sisters do. We definitely have our fair share of arguments that include screaming over whose leggings ended up in someone's room, even though I know that they were mine, and I know that Brielle takes clothes. So yeah, we fight all the time, but Honestly, what brought us together, and you're gonna think that I'm crazy, was the Cloudy Muff, because we bond over Cloudy and we always hang out when we hang out with the little bird. Cloudy just has that effect on people. So me and Brielle definitely have had our fair share of arguments, but we're also really great friends. For example, we just got off of a close to an hour phone call right before this because someone's trolling her on Instagram, and we really want to get to the bottom of it and find out who this account is, and I will not stop until I'm on Catfish with Neve and we're finding out who this account is. So yeah, that's our relationship. We can go from 0 to 100 really quick, and I think that's a lot of sisters. So if you can relate to that, I'm definitely going to be sharing more stories. Next up is my little brother Cooper, who is 19, which is so crazy. Coop is my pal, and honestly, we bonded a lot starting from quarantine up into now, and we grew out of that like brother-sister relationship where he would always like pick on me and I would do the same, and we became like besties now, and that's been really cool. He is a wrestler at NYU, which works out for me because when I'm in the city, he's also living in the city, and we can always go to really great food places because Coop's a foodie. And I say that like he's more than a foodie. I can't even describe. But this kid knows what he's doing. He knows how to cook, and he also knows his spots in the city, and he hasn't taken me to a bad place yet. So that's been really cool, and that's my central family. So it's just my parents, me, Brielle, Coop, and of course Cloudy. The next person I want to talk about is my boyfriend Harris. Something that you should know about Harris is he is definitely the recipient of the award for the most patient man in the entire universe ever to exist. I truly don't know how he deals with me, and you're going to quickly see that as well. You're going to wonder, how does Harris deal with Mattie? And I definitely plan to share some of my irrational thoughts in our relationship. I want to do an upcoming segment of what ridiculous thing has Mattie gotten mad at Harris for this week, and I'm definitely going to do that. But he is also so funny and really just the perfect person for me, and I'm going to be talking about him a lot. The next person is my dear Livy. She is my cousin. She's actually my second cousin, so it's really confusing. My grandmom, my Grammy, my mom's mom, is Liv's mom's sister. So we're second cousins, but we honestly are sisters, and I know that sounds so cheesy, but we are, because Liv doesn't have a sister, so she looked at me and Brielle as sisters, and we've known each other our entire lives, literally our entire lives, so we're just best friends, and we think alike, but we're also so different at the same time, and I will for sure be having her on episodes because she's a riot. And you'll see that. She's so funny and just truly one of a kind. And she knows she is. She knows she's one of a kind. This past weekend, my birthday weekend, actually, I got the greatest gift ever. I got to see Snoop Dogg, the Snoop Dogg, front row with Livy. And I honestly can't think of anything better. The key reason, because me, Snoop, and Liv have a lot in common. We all like marijuana, and I'm not ashamed to say that, and I'm definitely going to be talking a lot about it on this podcast, just a forewarning. But anyway, the concert was so fun, and it was seriously such a great birthday gift, and I was really glad that I got to go with Liv, and I got to go with Harris too, and he brought his friend, so it was a really good time. Great birthday. So that's a little bit about all the people that I will be talking about pretty regularly. I definitely will add people, obviously, as stories come up. I'm not gonna lie, I honestly really like that idea of talking about what irrational thing I got mad at Harris for this week, and there's honestly so many, and it's something that I really do say to myself that I need to work on because I feel like he's going to run away, where I'm so crazy and I pick on him for the littlest things sometimes, and I really wish that I didn't do that, but I'm so crazy. So I need to get better at that. But as I navigate that path, I'm going to be sharing the funny moments, because looking back at them, I always laugh, and I'm always like, Mattie, you are so absurd and ridiculous. Like, he must think you're crazy. And I laugh at myself, so you guys should laugh at me too, because these are so ridiculous. So this wasn't necessarily this week, but it's something that I wanted to talk about for a really long time, because I'm honestly crazy. So Harris lost his AirPods a while back, and I ended up finding them. Actually, Livy ended up finding them. They were under this passenger side seat of my car. I don't know how they got there, but Harris's AirPods were saved. He found them. During that time, I gave him my AirPods like a great girlfriend. I gave him my AirPods to work out with, to listen to music whenever he needed. A loaner pair. They were his AirPods at that point. He was keeping them in his bag, keeping them in my gym bag. They were his. And I honestly didn't mind, because I have another pair of headphones that I usually use to work out, so I didn't need them, and I wanted him to have AirPods, so I really didn't mind. Where I did mind is when we did find the AirPods in the bottom of my car, and I still did not receive my pink AirPods back. And that's where I started to get suspicious. I didn't know where they were. I knew he didn't know where they were. So yeah, I was a little upset. I wanted my AirPods back. I may not have needed them at that time, but I still wanted them back. And I felt, as I lent out my AirPods for a pretty long while, no questions asked, Harris, use my AirPods. He should have been responsible with my AirPods and not lost them. But instead, he said, no, I gave them back to you. And I know damn well he knew he didn't give them back to me. And I knew he didn't know where they were. And so I'm asking him, Harris, please look in your bag. Please look in your bag. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. But I know damn well he did not look in his bag. So I'm driving home from New York one day, and I'm thinking about the AirPods, because I kind of want them for work when I started going into the office. And you know what? I wanted my AirPods back. I don't need to explain it. I wanted my AirPods back. And I wanted him to look in the bag that I asked him to look in 5 billion trillion times. So I call him, and I'm like, please look for my AirPods. And he said, I did. And I'm like, oh, you couldn't find them? And he said, no. I was like, that's so strange. Can you please look in this other bag and all this stuff? And he made up so many excuses why he couldn't look in the bag. But it was confusing, because he said he was looking, but he wasn't seeing them. But I didn't believe that he was looking. It was a big mess, because I'm crazy. And I ended up getting really, really angry at him and going off and being like, I lent you my AirPods and you lost them and you're lying to me, and being such a spoiled brat, honestly. And he's going to say, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, when he listens to this. But yeah, I was mean to you, Harris, and I'm sorry. But you did lose my AirPods. So I kind of go back and forth on this one. But I was crazy, hung up on him, and it got pretty bad. And then I dropped it when I got home, and I realized how ridiculous it was. I don't even know if I said that he found the AirPods. He did find them in a bag that I told him to look in. So it was a messy situation, but I would love to hear, because I think my parents are biased and they love Harris and they love to pick on me. And I think everyone wants to call me like irrational, which honestly 99% of the time I am being. But I would love to hear what everyone else has to say. People from college that I haven't talked to in a while, people from high school that I haven't talked to in a while, like random person that, if you're listening to this, which I hope that happens, that random people start listening, let me know what you think. Am I crazy? Is Harris right? Am I right? Let me know. I also feel like I want to throw some funny story about Cloudy in here. Maybe not week to week, because that might get a little excessive for other people's likings. I know I would listen to that, and I know Brielle would listen to that, and Cloudy's other loyal followers would listen to that, but I don't know if everyone wants to, so I'll sprinkle a Cloudy story in there every here and then, but there's a good one this week, so I must talk about it. So when Cloudy was really little, he couldn't fly, and therefore I think that he didn't really like being outside of his cage. That was his comfort zone, and he never wanted to come out, and it honestly broke my heart because I wanted him to be my bestie pal, and he really wasn't feeling that same vibe, wasn't feeling that same energy. But now, oh my God, he is a completely different bird. He will scream when I walk out of the room because he wants me to come back and play with him. He wakes up early and I hear his like little bell toy. He's rat-a-tat-tatting on that thing. He is completely different. He'll climb on the walls trying to get out. He just wants to play 24/7. Honestly, I really can't blame him. Sounds like a wonderful life. So I brought him to New York last week because I was going to be here for over a week and I would miss him, and he's my bird and I wanted to spend time with him. And Brielle might disagree. Brielle really thinks that he's her bird too, but newsflash, he's not. He's mine. Can you tell that's an issue that me and Brielle argue about? So I brought him to New York and we're spending some time here, but I can't take him out all the time when I'm here because I'm working during the day or we're going out to dinner, and he definitely does not get as free of a reign in the city as he does in Ocean City, and I feel bad for that. I have mom guilt for that, but he still gets his playtime, trust me. So I just got home from work and I played with him really quick, and then I put him back in his cage so I could eat dinner, and he is going bonkers, like climbing up and down his cage, yelling, like nibbling on everything. He's going crazy, and I knew he wanted out, but I was like, Cloudy, like I'll play with you in a second, just wait like 5 minutes, I'll play with you. Oh my God, I speak to him like he speaks English. This is like the perfect representation of who I am. So I'm telling him that I'll play with him in a little while, but he will not quit. He really decided to do the most. And he has 2 little sliding doors on the side of his cage that I put his food in, his water in, and something that I call his snack cart in. It's just like a fruity snack for parakeets, and I call it a snack cart, and he likes it. I think he always throws it all around his cage, but that's besides the point. But those things like lift in so I can slide his things in there, and I usually don't close them all the way because it's just easier for me to slide them in and out. And Cloudy must have caught on, like the smart little bird he is, and he started to lift those things with his beak. It was honestly wild. Like, he's a tiny bird. I don't know how big his brain is. I'd like to think my son is very smart, but the fact that he knew to lift that, and he knew to go to the one that I changed the water with, because that's the one that would be open, and that's the one that I go into multiple times a day to change his water, and he knew that that was an entry and exit point. So it's so wild, and I managed to get one of his attempts on video. There were many, and I definitely didn't capture the best attempt, but he literally was picking up the little door and almost getting out. He couldn't figure out how to lodge himself in that door, but one of these days that little guy is going to. He's going to figure out how to escape. And it's funny because Brielle was just telling me that he was doing that again. So we need to wrangle him. We need to figure out how to get him to stop that immediately, because that would be terrible. And I don't know why he feels the need to do that, because I let him out more than he's in his cage. He's the most privileged little bird in the history of little birds. Like, he's always out of his cage. But he did try and make his great escape. He Indiana Jones'd his cage, and I'll keep you updated on that. I really hope that next time I'm on this microphone, I don't say, oh yeah, Cloudy got out of his cage. I hope he just decides to be good and decides to knock that off immediately. I really liked sharing these types of stories, so I'm definitely going to share more stories going forward. But wrapping this first weird episode up, I really want to hear from everyone that did listen, if anyone listened, and I want to hear what you would want to hear from me. I don't think anyone would want this in the entire world, but I could answer questions, people that know me, if you want to call out a specific story that you think that I should talk about, because I definitely have plenty. Hear anything from me. Honestly, I'll talk about it all. I really don't care. And I really want to have people on this podcast with me, because that's when I really don't shut up, and that's when I really am myself, when I'm talking to Livy or Harris or honestly anyone that wants to come on here and just chat with me. That's exactly what I would listen to in a podcast, because it's so casual, and that's what I want to make my podcast about. So very open to suggestions. I welcome them. I want this to be like interactive, whether it be with friends and family that already know me or new listeners, which I would love. I really want this to be the people's podcast. I want it to be something for me, something for you, something for everyone. So really, thank you so much if you made it this far. I really cannot imagine anyone did, but if you are still listening, thank you so much, and just know that I'm really, really excited to get this ball rolling, start making this more of a regular thing. I was really nervous, I can't lie. But it was honestly so much fun. I have no idea how long I was even talking for. I'm going to cut some of this down, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed these few stories that I told and just a little bit about me and what I'll be talking about. And I really hope that you continue to listen for however many episodes I make, however long I record this. We'll see how it goes, but it's really something that I've wanted to do for so long, and I don't know why I wasn't doing it. So I figured, why not? I'll just make this jump and start the podcast, and here I am. So thank you. Can't say it enough. And if you could please share this, follow the Instagram in the Clouds Pod, I would be very grateful. It would be super cool to do this together. Thank you so much, and see you whenever I see you. Bye.